you get, the more experience you gain. But still, would you recommend any specific courses like for diplomats or negotiators that like you have as regular training programs within US diplomats? If there is anything like that, that would be very interesting to hear. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for very good questions. On the first question, I think that there's obviously a lot of anticipation and some uncertainty about what is going to change in the relationship with a new US administration. When it comes to exchanges, I think there's a great reason for optimism. Obviously, a lot depends on the economy and the budget, the Congress, and what budget they give for exchanges. And there are some uncertainties there because the economy is certainly suffering from the pandemic, and the Congress is very divided, so there will be a lot of tough negotiations over money. But in terms of support for exchanges and belief in exchanges, we are in very good position with the new administration, because not only is President-elect Biden the former head of the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate, which worked very closely on international programs, including exchanges, but the person he's named to be Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, his wife, Evan Ryan, was the head of the Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs. And most of you were in that, beneficiaries of that bureau on your exchange programs. Evan Ryan was my boss when I was at Education and Cultural Affairs running global youth programs like Flex. She's a huge fan of exchange programs, and I have a feeling she might occasionally at the dinner table tell her husband some things about how valuable they are. So I think we will get very strong support from the administration for exchange programs. Whether the economy and the budget allows increases or just holding the same amount is another question. And then in terms of US-Russia relations, again, there's a lot of sort of doom and gloom and people that are predicting that the Biden administration will be a return to the Obama years. It's easy to make predictions, and it's very hard to be accurate. Because I remember after the election of Donald Trump, there were predictions that US-Russian relations would flourish, that Russia was much closer to Trump than to the Democrats, and they were glad to be rid of Obama and happy to see Trump. If you look back at the last 4 years, relations have not exactly gone the direction most people want them to go. So I would not make any predictions about the future. A lot depends on actions, events, attitudes, and that comes back to your second question on how do we train diplomats. We select people to become diplomats that have the right sort of educational background that shows that they know some things about diplomacy and also about interpersonal relations, soft skills. We do provide some training. Diplomats, before they go overseas, not only study languages, but also skills of diplomacy. But the real trick, I think, to being an effective diplomat is soft skills. You have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. You have to look at the world from their perspective, find out what things really matter to them, maybe not the things they're saying or the things they're told to say, and find places where you can make compromises and find common ground. You have to be firm on things that really matter, but you don't succeed by just going in and, demanding your position with other people. You have to find a place you can meet them in the middle. Sometimes that takes a lot of time. Sometimes it's easier. But that's what I love about public diplomacy and people-to-people diplomacy, because every time you meet someone else, every time you are standing in a line to buy something, or meeting someone at a lunchroom, or talking to a professor or a student, you're engaged in diplomacy, and it's a wonderful personal experience to try to find a way to have someone else walk away with a better understanding of you or your country as a result of that encounter. One-on-one is the way it happens, and whether you're working with the media or you're working with individuals you've met, It's your ability to help the other person understand your perspective and you understand theirs that makes this success. I hope I answered that question.
Thank you very much, Carl. And all your answers are so just nice and inspiring. Thank you very much. Next question from Dinara Galiulina.
That's
Hello,
awesome.
Carl.
Hi.
It's great to have you here with us. I myself studied international relations at university, but then I decided to change my choice of life, and I connected my life with education. So my questions for you are a little bit personal about a job of a diplomat. So what is home for you? It was quite impressive, the story about your childhood, that you moved so much. And the second question is, have there ever been any moments when you were maybe, when you lost faith in diplomacy and you wanted to shift to a different field? And what is it that keeps you moving and enthusiastic about diplomacy? Thank you.
Thank you for some very good and very personal questions. What is home for me? That is one of the biggest problems of someone who lives like a, as we say, a gypsy, a tsigankin, but who is always moving. I really don't have a home. I've never stayed in one location for more than 3 years in my life. After 2 or 3 years, I get the urge to move again. My family is now in the Washington, D.C. area in Northern Virginia, where I have a house. So I guess that's where my home is, but I've never spent more than a few years there myself. And now they're there and I'm in Moscow. So I feel like I have 2 homes. My own family moved around a lot as well. So they also live in many parts of the world. So I think you lose that sense of a homeland when you travel a lot. But I just sort of consider the world my home, and all the places where I've been and all the experiences I've had to be very, very valuable and not anchored in one place. But that is a hard part of diplomacy. My son also feels that when he first went to university and they said, "Where are you from?" That's always the first question they ask at American University. You probably heard it too. He didn't know how to answer because he had just come from Denmark. His family was in Virginia. He was born in Singapore. He had no answer. So people thought he was very strange because that question, "Where are you from?" caused him to have no answer. And then are there moments when you feel that it's hard to be a diplomat? Yes, indeed. I would say, to be honest, Chestna Gavria right now is probably the hardest moment because we depend on sending people on programs overseas. We depend on bringing Americans here, cultural performers, speakers, professors, and we depend on interacting with people, having events at Spaso, meeting people every day. And now we're meeting people via Zoom for a few hours a day. My office is empty. We only go in one at a time to avoid a risk. I don't see very many people. And for someone who depends on people, that's very hard. So this is one of the biggest tests of diplomacy. But I think that what inspires me is things like this, meeting all of you, not just because I'm seeing people without masks for the first time in several weeks, but because looking at people like you and how much your experience has changed you, I hope for the better. That's what keeps me going. All the hundreds of people that I've sent on programs or met on programs and heard from them later how much it changed them. I spoke to someone in South Africa who said he traveled in the late 1960s with civil rights leaders in America on an exchange program, and as a result came back deciding that apartheid was doomed and he was going to work to fight and overcome apartheid in South Africa. You know, when you meet people whose lives and the lives of others were changed through these programs, then you know it's worthwhile. And that keeps you going from the times when it's hard, when you don't seem to be making any progress. Okay, I hope I answered the question. Thank you. Thank you, Dinara.
Thank you very much, Carl. And the last question of today from Alina Rafikova.
Okay, and I have to apologize because there are many, many good questions I did not get time to answer. But if you don't mind, what I will do is I will answer some of the others in the chat while your next program is going on so people can see them.
Thank you, Carl, and thank you for joining us today and sharing a bit about your very broad and honestly truly inspiring cultural experience. I think we all, when we travel for the first time or live in a different country for the first time, we all make cultural mistakes. And I'm interested, what was your most memorable faux pas? What did you learn from it, and how did it help you in the future?
Oh, there are so many. There are so many. One per culture, I think. But that's a nice way to end today, because a little bit of humor to, yes, it is easy to make cultural mistakes. I would love to hear someday your stories of a cultural mistake that you made in America. I can think of so many mistakes in so many places. I would say this is a little embarrassing, but when I had my first exam, na Russkom Yazykie, this was back in the United States, but with Russian language teachers there, I learned that you have to be very careful if you don't know a word in a foreign language, not to take an English language word and then just put a ending, окончание, on it to make it sound Russian, because my topic I was supposed to speak on was the environment, and I did not know that загрязнение окружающей сферы is the way to refer to pollution. So I said that in America, there's a very big problem with polluция, and it is very hard to clean up. So yeah, that was one of my more embarrassing mistakes. But you know, I think making mistakes in another culture are a great way to learn more about the culture. You'll never forget the mistake, and if you can laugh about it and haven't done any serious damage, it's a teaching moment. I made a mistake as a diplomat in one of my first assignments, and this was in an English-speaking country in New Zealand. But in New Zealand at the time, there was a tension between the United States and New Zealand over nuclear issues. And I was working in the embassy library. We had an American center there, and I was working behind the desk. So I was thinking that I was a librarian answering questions and not a diplomat at that moment. And a student came in, and she was rather shy, and she said, can you answer me a question? If I am in a relationship with an American sailor, is there a risk of me getting AIDS, SPID? And thinking that I was a librarian, I said, well, you know, if you're having a relationship with someone, American sailors may be safer than others, because before they come to New Zealand, they have to go through a medical test in America. And that test includes a check to make sure they do not have SPID. So they are probably the safest people to sleep with. Of course, she was a reporter for the newspaper. So the next day, the headline in the newspaper was, American Embassy says sailors are the safest source of sex. And I thought about going and buying all the newspapers in the country and destroying them, but it was too late. And my nachalnik in the embassy called me, and I was very lucky. I had a very good nachalnik, because what he said is, everybody in their career is going to make one mistake. You chose to make your mistake the first year as a diplomat. So if you do not make another mistake, you are fine. And I've tried very hard since then to not make that mistake, to be careful and make sure I know who I'm talking to. So there were a couple of examples of me embarrassing myself. It's fun to think about times you embarrass yourself. It makes you seem more human. I've enjoyed talking to all of you. I wish we had more time. I hope you enjoy the next presentation. And yeah, the sailors were very grateful. I probably had some kids named after me. I am going to try to answer some of the questions with the chat now, but I really enjoyed the time, and I hope this is not the last time we speak together, but the first of many. And I wish everybody a very healthy and happy S Novim Godom, Zrozhistom. Best wishes to everybody. And thank you for participating. Thank you for being alumni in our program.
Thank you all for your speech. Thank you.
Carl, thank you very much for your wonderful speech. Thank you for answering our questions. Thank you for the support that you and U.S. Embassy in Russia gives our USG alumni mentoring program. We really appreciate it. Damien, also, thank you very much. It was great. Have a great rest of the day. Also, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays upcoming. I hope everyone stays safe and healthy. And we would like to continue today. It's very unique training because we have USG alumni from 10 cycles of the program. When we started, we didn't know if we continue and how it all gonna go. And we see that every year, every cycle, there are more and more new USG alumni programs participating, new alumni who have not been in the community for several years, for 20 years even, are coming back to USG alumni community because of this amazing program. And so many wonderful results for both actually members and mentees. And this program indeed has been a life-changing experience for the majority of the participants. So I would like to give floor to our coach, David Stilwell. He's a life and leadership coach, trainer, and motivational speaker with a passion to help people discover and accomplish their life purpose and make a positive impact on the world. We've been working already with David on other professional development seminars. So some of you might know him. Those from the first cycles who haven't met him now will have this opportunity. And I'm really excited to start this professional development seminar for all of you, because it's unbelievable, again, opportunity to network within all 10 cycles. So David, the floor is yours. And Carl and Damien, thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. And can everyone hear me okay? Okay, good, good. Wow. Carl, thank you. That was really inspiring. And
you're welcome.
Really humbling. I'm a little bit hard to go after someone like you. I love your experience and your quotes, and super exciting. Super exciting to see all these people here as well.
Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, no, it was great. Thank you, Carl. I'd love to get a coffee with you sometime with our masks on. So it'd be fun.
Sure.
So yes, so excited to be here. We had a wonderful chance to meet with the people who are participating right now in the mentoring program. And boy, are they doing a great job. It was so much fun. And we had a chance 2 weeks ago where we did a Strength Finders training. It was great and made us want to come back so bad that here in Chicago, we got up at 1 in the morning to be able to participate with you here today. That's how excited we are. And it's very humbling to be with all of you. I'm sure all of you have such great experience with mentoring. To be able to share our experience a little bit, hope you'll be able to take some things with you, put them into practice, not only in your mentoring relationships, but in your relationships with others as well, your family, your children, the people you work with, because soft skills are so important. And as Carl was sharing with us, not only for diplomacy, but for working on an arrangement with someone to buy a car, or someone that's in a taxi with you, or just having a relationship with people who sells eggs down the block. Relationships are the most powerful thing in the world. And we hope today you gain some relationship skills that will help you, not only as a mentor, but in your life and with people that mean the most to you as well. Introduce myself again. My name is David Stilwell. My wife, Jen, my partner, my favorite friend, is with me as well. We are certified Trust Edge coaches with the Trusted Leadership Institute. We've had the privilege of working and for most of these years living as well in Central Asia, in the CIS. We started in Tashkent back in '93, lived there in the incredible '90s, lived there for about 13 years. And then we had a chance to move to Kyrgyzstan, and we've been based there for quite a bit of time. We've spent quite a bit of time in the States as well. And we're motivational speakers, leadership consultants. When we were living in Central Asia, we were part of the Central Asian American Enterprise Fund, a US government project that was doing joint ventures and helping people with small business loans. We also started an NGO there. We were building schools in Afghanistan and drilling wells in Karachi, Pakistan, and helping to start 12-step support groups for people needing addiction recovery. And the last 10 years, we've been focused mostly on being consultants and trainers. So it's a privilege for us to be with you. We speak Uzbek, quite a bit of Kyrgyz and Russian as well, and not 5 languages, but at least we're getting out of the boat of being Americans and only knowing one. So anyway, we are excited also to have Natasha Tashbalatova with us. She's part of our business in Kyrgyzstan, Authentic Life, one of our consultants. She's a life purpose and career coach, a great trainer, a great coach. You could find her on Instagram if you would like life purpose or career coaching. She's with us today to help us with our tech support. So thank you, Natasha, for being with us. We're thrilled to be here today because we really believe that mentoring matters. It matters to me and Jan because every single person on that screen means a lot to us. These are people we've had the privilege of being able to mentor from many different countries. Many of them were business people. They were successful when we met them. Some of them were not very successful when we met them, on the verge of divorce, or they're on the verge of suicide even. And I'd have to say that we're so thrilled that every single one of these people here, they are involved in mentoring other people. And we find out that over 85% of people that are mentored, they will mentor others. So all of the people you've invested in over the years, many of you maybe have been in the program many, many years. I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for investing in the next generation of leaders of Russia. Thank you for spending your time, your energy into developing them, spending your time with them, encouraging them. And because this is really going to help to change the nation, one life at a time. Communities and families will be different because you've put your time into mentoring people. And we hope that today you're going to gain some skills that help you to be even more effective. Many of these things maybe you already know, but we're going to have some great time for you to be able to put these things into practice with each other. And at the very least, you're going to walk away with having spent a good half an hour with someone else in this room talking about something that's important to you. And the other person's going to be practicing some of the skills about active listening, asking questions, and encouragement with you. And you're going to have a chance for 15 minutes to be practicing your mentoring skills with them as well. So we're going to be really thrilled about this time, and we're going to have some good results, I believe. So let's talk about the soft skills, because we're talking about the soft skills of mentoring. We're not going to talk about all of them, but let me just give you a description of what we mean by soft skills. We call soft skills the art of communicating and collaborating with people. And we categorize them in the 4 categories. One of them is your self-leadership skills. You could call this also your having a growth mentality, knowing who you are, understanding your strengths, your talents, your weaknesses, being a good self-leader, how to just self-motivate yourself. These are kind of the self-leadership skills. There's also interpersonal skills as well. Your relationship with one other person. The first one's a relationship with yourself. The second one is a relationship with you and somebody else. This is about encouraging someone else, communication, listening, asking questions. It's about forgiving. It's about knowing how to have a good apology. It's understanding their strengths and weaknesses as well, like what Carl was talking about, trying to understand them, being able to have empathy and understand their perspective as well. There's also teamwork skills that are soft skills. And this is not just you having a good relationship with one other person, it's you being a positive member of a team. How do you work effectively with someone else? How do you understand and value the skill sets of others? Knowing their personalities, their work styles, being perhaps a peacemaker between a couple people in the team as a co-member of this team. There's also understanding the soft skills of leadership. And this is where mentoring comes in. It's a leadership soft skill that it has a combined number of many, many soft skills. But leadership is about also casting vision and clarifying your team objectives and coaching, inspiring, confronting, and also being a peacemaker. And mentoring fits within that as well. And so we're excited to be able to talk about some mentoring soft skills today and practice them with you. Why are soft skills important? Well, it's obviously important because relationships are important. As I said earlier, relationships, I believe, are the most valuable thing in the world, the most valuable and the most powerful. The most powerful to help, the most powerful to hurt as well. And but why are soft skills helpful in your professional success? Well, research done by Harvard and Stanford and the Carnegie Foundation tells us that only 15% of your professional success will come from your technical skills and your knowledge. And 85% of your professional success is going to come from your soft skills that I just mentioned before. So we don't always think of it this way. Knowledge is great, but your relationships with others, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with the team, playing well with others in the sandbox, as one of my friends said, who works for a great, very successful company. That's what they're looking for in people, people who are able to have those kinds of soft skills that are beneficial to others as well. Linda Phillips Jones, the author of several books about and studied hundreds of mentoring relationships, came up with a model here they call the mentoring skills model. And mentoring is not only about how well the mentor does, but there's, of course, the other person, the mentee, who needs skills as well in order for the mentoring relationship to be successful. And so she categorized these different skills, and these are some of them. But in the middle, there was a set of core shared skills about identifying goals, about active listening, encouraging, and building trust. These are some of the skills that we want to work on today and talk about today and have you a chance to practice them. So the mentoring soft skills that build trust, there's all kinds of soft skills, of course, that build trust. But the ones that we want to talk about today are asking powerful questions to help people identify goals and create action steps. We want to talk about also active listening and practice active listening and asking questions. And then finally, encouragement. And we're going to end the day really thinking on a high note about the great things about the people that we've mentored, great things about people we're mentoring right now, perhaps the great things about the people around us, and you're going to be prepared to be a blessing, to be an encouragement to the people that are around you as well by encouraging them. Because we have a deficit of encouragement in this world. Jan and I come at mentoring from a coaching approach. We're trained coaches. We train others in coaching as well. And we have trained hundreds of people in Central Asia in coaching as well as in the United States as well. And we believe in the effectiveness of the mentoring model with a coaching approach. And this is really focused on what is important to you, what is the goal of my conversation. Start with what? What's the broad goal for my conversation with you? Then we move on to why. Why is this important? We want to explore the conversation, explore the goal. Then we go to how. So now that we know what the goal is, and we clarify it is for this conversation or for that we're working for 2 months or 3 months, and now we know why this is important, we help the person become motivated. Then we understand more about how. How does this person want to accomplish this goal? There's many routes to get to Moscow, many routes to get to someplace else. And then we move to another how, which is more, okay, here's how you can, the many options. How would you really want to take it? What's the next step? What's the decision you're going to make? What's the path you're going to take to get to this goal? And after that, once we have the path, then we say, well, what's the next step within the next couple of weeks until we see each other again? And finally, what we have come up with is the last question, which is who, which is about who is going to give you the support, encouragement, and accountability that you need. And so that's how we look at the coaching approach to mentoring. Coaching is about helping people to grow, helping people to develop, which is the goal of mentoring, the development of another person. Help them to grow without just telling them what to do, by asking questions, by encouraging, by listening. So let's dive into powerful questions. I used to think that people that I mentor, they need my answers. They need my answers first and foremost. I felt that they needed my knowledge. And then I started to see the people I was mentoring, they weren't growing and developing. They were depending on me, my knowledge, my suggestions, my advice. And I watched people that were successful in mentoring. And I started to see what they did that was different than me. They asked powerful questions. They knew a list of questions I never thought of before. And this is what makes people to be successful when they're mentoring and leading others, is they know questions to ask that help others. Like Keith Webb, who's a coach trainer and is a CEO of Creative Results Management, says, questions rather than answers fundamentally drive the future. Now as a leader, I realize that the people I'm leading, the people I'm mentoring, even my children, they need my questions more than they need my answers. Because questions are not static. Questions are constantly changing. Questions are amazing at being able to drive the future of myself, of others, when we move into those new areas that we never thought of before. One of the key roles of a mentor is he's asked these powerful questions, and these questions help the mentee to think more broadly and deeply. Questions are supposed to be helpful in the area of making things more clear and focused, not only broad and deep, but focused and clear, so that you have laser clear vision about what is it that the person wants to do and what are the specific steps the person's going to take to accomplish them. Also, powerful questions help people to lead conversations to their desired outcome. Like I showed you on the list of the coaching approach, we have questions that lead us through from the start of the conversation to the very end, where in my mind, I know where I'm going to when I start the conversation. Now, when we usually train people in the coaching approach, we'll do it over the course of 2 days. We have about two and a half hours with you. So obviously we're not gonna get to all of this, but we really want you to get a couple of the skills, practice a little bit of this funnel that we showed you there of the coaching approach, and be able to walk out of here having tried something that you could put into practice right when you leave. So when I ask a question, what happens inside your mind? What happens when I ask you a question? What happens inside of you? Go ahead and turn on your microphone.
Well, maybe the brain starts working faster and searching for various solutions.
Okay, searching for solutions. What else happens when I ask a question?
Getting focused.
I think that
Thank you.
I evaluate this question and think about what do you want to, what kind of answer do you want to hear from me?
Aha. So you start to think about what kind of answer do I want to hear from you? Yeah?
Yes, of course, because if you ask this question, you have a reason to ask it, right?
Okay. So
not just a question for a question.
Excellent. Thank you.
I think it depends on the question. Yeah, start eliciting, and sometimes it is even a fight between the brains, because you have to be very careful what to answer and how to answer.
Yes.
And it's a lot of psychological, it might be also psychological barriers.
Yes, yes.
And the idea is important, who is asking?
Right, yes. So who's asking it? So again, if it's a mentoring conversation and you're asking a question, even the mentee, if they don't really know you, maybe if they don't completely trust you, or maybe they think you're asking it because you want to prove them wrong about something, trust is such a key part of our relationships. So building that trust, having people understand, I'm asking this question for your benefit, not for mine, where the person, the guards are down, then they start to process this question because it's important to them. Here's what I think happens when we ask a question. In our mind, there's all kinds of things going on. Right now, you're listening to me, but probably in the back you're thinking about, oh, I'm hungry, and when are we gonna have lunch, and all these other kinds of things, and oh wow, his shirt maybe is not completely ironed, I'm not sure, or you're thinking about, wow, you know, I wish I had something to eat right now. So we have all kinds of conversations, and I kind of think that in our minds, just in general, it's kind of like a Central Asian bazaar. It's all kinds of things going on inside of there. Things, wants we have, concerns we have, maybe we're angry at someone, maybe a desire we have, or goal. All these things are going on. And when someone asks a question, what happens is you become laser focused inside of your mind. All those other thoughts go away, and you start to use that energy that you've talked about here to see what is the answer to this question. And that's what happens. We can't tell people what to think, but we can influence people about what to think about through our questions. I can't convince someone what to think, but I can ask a question and bring up a topic for them to think about. And this is so important for us as mentors, to have the questions that help our mentees to be able to think about what is important to them, how to solve their situation, what have they learned in the past, what's maybe stopping them from progressing. And we do that not by telling them, but by asking a question so they find the solution in their own mind. We've given you a resource here that I believe that Maria sent out to you. It's a resource we developed based off of the 15 years or so that I've been so fascinated with questions, looking for answers of how I could be a better leader. How can I be a better mentor? How can I be a better manager? How can I be a better coach? And I found my answer is not in answers, it's in having the right questions for the right situation. So you'll be faced with different situations, and there's different categories for you to be able to use. Look through these. If you see a situation where I feel like my mentee needs to have more accountability, they need more support. So I want to be able to ask some questions about, hey, how can I help you accomplish your action steps? Or what could you do to remove that obstacle if that's in your way? Or maybe it's an ownership question that you want to ask about, so what is it that you want to do about that? Or what step do you want to take? Or maybe we realize that, wow, we want them to take responsibility for something. What do you think you've done that's contributed to that problem? We're not telling them that they've contributed to it. We're just asking them to think about it, and they raise their focus. They learn from it, from their experience, and you help them as a coach, mentor, to be able to overcome that. Jan and I want to just demonstrate. I like to demonstrate when I teach, not just talk. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just demonstrate what it could look like to be asking some questions. Jan is with me here. Jan, right?
I'm here.
Hey, there she is, my beautiful wife. Okay. So Jan's my mentee. I'm her mentor. And I'm just going to ask her some questions. And what I'd like you to just look at is say, what kind of questions am I asking? And what effect do my questions have on our conversation? So Jan, you're doing well today?
Yep, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. Is there something you want to talk about?
Yes, actually, I'd like to talk about my project in Bishkek, my social project, where we're doing free seminars and coaching and counseling for women. And I'd like to talk about how to move forward with that.
Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about how to move forward with that?
Yep.
It sounds like you're a little bit stuck with knowing how to move forward. Is that right?
I didn't say that exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this project seems like it means a lot to you. Yeah, have you, is there some situation that's really a problem right now?
Yeah, we were doing a lot of we were doing face-to-face training until March. And then when COVID hit, we started doing online training, which we realized was really great because we were able to reach a lot more people in the villages than we did before. But, sorry, Dave, should I wait till you're not being
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. That's good. I like the project. I love it. It's really good.
I didn't say much about it, but.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So, but lately we've been realizing that a lot of women are not able to get on Zoom, or they're, or stay on Zoom. They don't have enough internet.
Have you talked to one of these media specialists there, the guys that do social media? We know when we did it, started a web page, we had to hire someone that really knew about that, because I know it's really difficult in Kyrgyzstan, right?
Sorry, I didn't really understand why you're bringing up web page right now. I didn't say anything about web page. Do you feel like I should start a web page for this project?
Isn't that what you said you wanted to do?
No. That was one of the ideas I'm thinking about, but I hadn't gotten there yet to why I want to start the web page or why.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know,
Is there
maybe
anything else I can help you with this?
not really. I think I need to go away and think about it myself for a while. Then if I want to talk through it again with you, I'll let you know.
Well, I tell you what, you know, I have a guy who makes web pages that's really good, and I'm sure he can help you. Okay.
All right. If I decide to do a web page, I'll let you know.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Okay. Quick debrief. What kind of questions was I asking?
Not relevant questions?
Not relevant.
Listening
What
was
else?
suffering.
Pardon me?
Listening was suffering here.
Yes, she was suffering. Why was she suffering?
listening was suffering, I think.
Oh, listening was suffering, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Judgments and assumptions without her saying anything about it.
I was making assumptions, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think you had kind of like a misunderstanding between you and the mentee, because she was talking about a really different thing, and then you realized like you kind of stuck at the end.
Yes, so I wasn't really listening maybe to what she was saying. I had the answer already in my mind, perhaps, yeah. Yes. What was the same about all of my questions that I asked? Did you notice that?
It seemed that they were like quite close. They were not open questions. And
Excellent. Excellent. Someone here that could teach us about closed questions. So what are closed questions?
practically, it's the question that supposes just yes or no, and does not give the whys of thinking, and doesn't give the chance for the mentee to open up some new borders.
Excellent. Thank you. So yes, besides being a poor listener in this conversation, and besides kind of giving, you know, assuming that I had answers for her problems that she didn't really get a chance to tell me, I was asking very closed questions. And exactly right. Closed questions are answered can only be answered with a yes or no. For example, are you okay? Did you do your work? Did you learn something today? Is this difficult for you? And we use these all the time. But we don't realize the effect that these kind of questions can have on conversations. Because the only real answer the person can give you yes or no, and they'll maybe only answer yes or no, or maybe they'll go on because they really want to talk, but eventually they will start to limit the conversation when I only ask yes or no questions. They can make it feel like one-sided or like dapros, you know, where they're being interrogated by asking a number of closed questions all at once. But so we try not to use closed questions when we're doing a coaching approach to mentoring. We try to have as many open questions as possible, but we do use closed questions when we're confirming what the person said. Along the lines of something like, I think you said this, is that right? And what that is, that's kind of an active listening approach, to be able to say, here's what I heard you say, is this true? And actually helps the conversation, it builds trust, where if I'm only using closed questions, they don't. So open questions cannot be answered with yes or no. Open questions, they show respect. Open questions and all questions along these lines, they build trust. Open questions show you care. They show compassion. They show concern. They show that you want to build a connection. You want to have empathy. You're showing empathy for somebody because you want to understand their perspective. They enable the conversation to go deeper, and they help the mentee to gain new insights when they answer the question. Many times when I'm doing coaching, I'll ask a question, and the person, when they're answering it, they're thinking about the situation in a brand new way. I help them to get out of the bazaar, out of the market, and help them be able to think about something in a new way they never thought before. And this is especially true for extroverts. Extroverts many times need to speak in order to think. Jan, I think that you're like that as well, aren't you? So many times she'll be talking to herself, even looking for something. Where's this? Where's that? As she's speaking it out, it's helping her to think, where did I put my glasses? And they might be on her head, but I won't even tell that that's a possibility. But sometimes when we're talking and I just ask her questions, at the end she'll say, oh, thanks for the advice, but I never gave her advice. All I did was ask her a question and she talked and she figured out the solution herself. So open questions like, what would you like to talk about today? Why is that important to you? How could you accomplish that goal? These are open questions that are not limiting the conversation. Let's take a little bit of time to kind of just work at changing these closed questions into open questions. Many of you, you've heard this before, but this is really fundamental, I believe, for successful mentoring relationships, is to be training ourselves to ask more open questions, even of our children and other people, than open ones, than closed ones, sorry. So we'll do this, and we're going to take then a 5-minute break because we've been on longer than an hour, and then we'll come back and we're going to talk about active listening. But so how can I change the first one? Did you accomplish your goals? How could I ask that in a different way to make it open?
First of all, how did you accomplish your goals and what helped you accomplishing those goals?
How did you accomplish your goals? What helped you? Excellent questions. We need to be, if we want to be really developing ourselves as leaders, we have to be just keeping a huge stockpile of questions in our belts. I like that one. What helped you to accomplish your goals? Yeah. Another one I said is, well, what progress have you made? If I say, did you accomplish your goals? It feels a little bit like, whoa, what if I didn't? The person's not going to accept me. But if I say, hey, what progress you made, then they can answer anything very freely. How about the next one? Couldn't you try something different?
What else you could try?
What else could you try? Yeah?
Or something like, do you see any, what other opportunities you can see in reaching your goal?
What other opportunities do you see in reaching your goal? Excellent. Great. Yeah, what do you want to do differently in order to move towards your goal? How about the next one? Did anything good happen today?
Maybe what are you proud of, or what
You're proud of today? Yeah, excellent.
What are you thankful for?
What are you thankful for? What a wonderful question. Build that gratitude, boost your immune system. What are you thankful for today? That's a great thing to start every day with. Thank you. Someone else? I said, well, what was the best thing that happened today? That's just an idea. And then, do you have any other ideas about the project? Closed question. Change it into an open one for us. Somebody.
How would you like the project to continue? To be
How would you
continued?
like the project to continue? Yeah.
What exact ideas, what new ideas have you got?
Excellent. Excellent. Great. Yeah, what ideas do you have for this project? Excellent. You're all experts in this field. Let's take a 5-minute break and come back at, what will this be now in Moscow time? 5 minutes from now will be 12:25, is that right?
Well, 25.
Okay, great. We will see you at 12:25. What?
Я не вижу всех участников, но хочу спросить, появился ли здесь Михаил Рыбалко? У него была проблема со входом. Михаил, вы здесь?
Yeah. Natasha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Does that sound better?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, when I was listening in earphones, I constantly heard something like this, you know?
Yeah, that's what Jan just told me. Sorry.
Yeah, but I didn't see that. Usually it happens when there are
you, Maria, for
earphones
some
or
reason.
something, but I didn't see any earphones on you, so I wasn't sure what was happening.
Dave?
It shows the option of this. What are going to be your next steps for that? Again, using the active listening technique where I repeat back their option. And finally, I'll say, so it sounds like your next step is, and I'll clarify to them again, this is what they say that they're going to do. So what kind of a support or accountability would help you to achieve that? What question do you want to ask me next time we meet? So what we're going to be doing after Jan and I demonstrate this funnel, if Jan allows me to do coaching with her again, we're going to be breaking up into groups and practicing our active listening techniques, practicing asking open questions around the topic of a goal that each of you have, something you want to achieve, or maybe it's a challenge that you want to overcome in 2020, 21. I could teach, you could listen, this could be a nice time, I could tell jokes and all this kind of things, but really to gain skills and to develop them, we need to practice. So this is what we're going to be doing. You're going to be practicing the echo technique of listening to the person who's talking about their goals, repeating back something that was important, and asking a follow-up question. Don't worry about being able to follow the funnel completely there to the very end. If you only help the person to clarify their goal, if you only explore it by asking why and what's important about this and how they're going to feel if they accomplish it. If you only just come up to the possible options of how they could do that. One of the key things is, though, we really want you to not give advice. Please do not give advice. That's one of the rules for this. Only ask open questions to practice these techniques. So what we're going to do is, Jan and I are going to demonstrate another conversation. I hope she's forgiven me from the last one, but I've been listening really well, Jan, to this training. And I wonder if you give me a chance to be able to do some coaching with you now.
Yeah, I thought about the soft skill of forgiveness and decided to forgive you and give you another chance.
Okay,
You're a
thank
nice
you.
guy.
Thank you, Jan. So what we want you to do, I'm going to be going through the chart here, but I want you to take notice of the questions that I asked and how I asked them. Maybe you want to write down some of these questions because you're going to be going into groups and trying to practice these techniques of asking questions based on what the person says. So, okay. So Jan, I'm really so thankful that we have a chance to do this again, that I have a chance to talk with you about this great project that you have. So what would you like to talk about today? And maybe it's a challenge or a goal that you have.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, for wanting to meet with me. I do really need to talk this through. So as I shared a little bit before, we've had this really great emotional healing, mental health, trauma recovery project going on for about 3 years. We were always meeting offline with people face to face, and it was going so well. Then everything came to a screeching halt in March, but we brainstormed and realized, hey, we could try to do this online. So we started doing these free seminars, trainings online, and then offering free coaching and counseling online. And we realized, wow, this is actually a really good strategy because we can reach people in the most remote villages by taking everything online. And then we actually became happy. It went from being a challenge and something disappointing to an opportunity. So that went really well until now. But just recently, and actually was happening a little bit before too, a lot of the women would say, oh, I can't get on Zoom, or I can't stay on Zoom, or oh, my kids are bothering me now, and they weren't able to complete, stay with us through the whole training, or they weren't able to participate at all. And they started actually asking us if we could start recording our training so they could listen to it at their convenience. So we met this past week with the team and thought, well, let's try to do this. And I think it's a great idea. But nobody in our team, they're all really good with people, but nobody's very tech savvy. And so I realized I need to figure out now, what kind of platform do I use to put once we make the recordings, what kind of platform do I put them on? What is going to be the best way for people to be able to access these trainings and then be able to ask for follow-up coaching and counseling. So I need to think through this.
Thank you, Jan. And I tell you what, sounds like a great idea to make these recordings of your seminars, to be able to make them available to people in the villages. You mentioned that you want to figure out the right platform. I'd like to come back to that in a second, if you would, but I just want to say, I've watched this. I love this project. I've seen how it impacted people, and it's exciting to think about this being able to expand. So I just want to ask you, what do you think is going to be the greatest impact of you making this change right now?
Well, yeah, I'm excited because I think that so many more women will be able to participate. I mean, before I knew it was kind of a limitation that we only offered it one time a week at a certain time, and we knew that that time didn't work for everybody. So now they can just listen when it works for them, when they have better internet bandwidth. And so I know it could really increase our impact exponentially. So I am excited about that.
Wow, exponential impact. Sounds awesome. Exponentially grow. So how does it make you feel thinking about being able to impact this?
Oh, it makes me really excited. It's interesting, every time we run into a challenge or an obstacle, new opportunities open up. So I'm very excited to see what the outcome will be.
Great, excellent. Well, you said you wanted to talk about the platform. So Jan, let's talk about this. What specific goal do you have to reach, and by when?
Oh, good question. Well, I need to have a platform. I need to decide on the platform and have it up and running for sure by January 12th, because that's when we decided we're going to launch this aspect of the project. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Okay,
sounds great. So it sounds like by January 12th, you want to have the platform up and running so that you can be ready by the 16th. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent. Yep. That sounds great, Jan. So why is this new project important to you? Because this is going to take extra energy and extra time. Why is it important for you to do this right now?
Well, it's important, very important to me, because I feel like almost everybody in Kyrgyzstan has PTSD right now. Everybody has lost something, whether it's friends or family members to COVID, or their jobs, or domestic violence has increased. And we just hear so much about how people are suffering, and a lot of people don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have any to process with. And we've seen like just amazing things happen just when people are able to share about what's going on. We have one doctor in one of the most remote regions of Kyrgyzstan. She calls us all the time. We're like Skorty Pomosh right now. She'll call and say, hey, I've got somebody in my office right now. She wants to commit suicide. I have no idea what to do. Help. And then one of our counselors will just listen and ask good questions and say it's okay to cry, and then she says to the doctor, go hug her. And I can't believe how many women have actually found healing or have recovered just from having someone that cares about them and will listen. So wow. Yeah, I do really love this project.
Wow, that's awesome. So it sounds like being able to make it available to people like this doctor who has people in her office and she needs help right away, to be able to give access to even more people like that sounds like it gives you a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah, yes. And by putting everything online, then we don't have to worry about people having great internet at that certain time of the day and during the week. So I am excited. I think it's
awesome, Jan. I can see you have a lot of passion for this, and I'm really happy about this new idea. So let's talk about how you can accomplish this goal. What are some of the ways that you could think of coming up with this platform or getting it running by the 12th? What are some possible ways you could do that?
Well, this is not my area of expertise at all. But I'm thinking some possibilities could be, we could set up a website, but I don't know like how many women in villages actually do searches and would find the website and be able to kind of navigate through that. Everybody knows how to do WhatsApp. We actually have been doing some recordings and putting them on WhatsApp. We could just have a WhatsApp group and put the recordings there. Or maybe, I don't know how many people use Facebook, but if they do, we can have a Facebook page. Or one of our colleagues is doing these kind of marathons right now. Something like that could work. Yeah, those are pretty much my ideas right now that I kind of need to explore and figure out which would be the best one.
Great. Wow, sounds excellent. So you've thought about a website. I'm just writing these things down. Website, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, or like you said, your friend who does the marathons. These all sound like great possibilities to think through, and probably look through the pros and cons of each of these. But I also heard you say something about you want to have a platform so that you can invite people for coaching and for counseling as well.
Yes.
What ideas do you have for that?
Yeah, thank you for picking up on that and reminding me of that, because that's really important. Yeah, that's also, you're a very good listener, Dave.
I learned from my wife.
Probably not, but yes, I need to think through how will that work, because one thing that worries me is in our seminars we bring up, I mean, people get kind of triggered when they listen to the seminars. Like a lot of times they get kind of in touch with what's going on inside and emotional pain. Sometimes memories come back up again that they need to process and have counseling. So I don't want people to just listen to the seminars and then not have coaching and counseling afterwards. So that's something I really have to figure out as well. I'm not sure totally what to do about that issue.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so,
go ahead.
I was just saying, so it sounds like you say you really care about these women and that you don't want any of them to be able to have unresolved issues that come up and they won't be able to get the counseling that they need. What could you do to find a way so that you could make sure this doesn't happen?
Yeah, you know, as I'm thinking about this is helping me to really think about this and process this. I think it's actually, I was thinking that we would just put these seminars out there and anybody can listen to them, and then we would just rely on people getting in touch with us, calling and setting up an appointment, online appointment. But actually, I think that, you know, we could be just completely overwhelmed, or maybe people would just listen to the seminars and maybe they wouldn't be able to, if they wouldn't be able to set up a coaching appointment, I would feel really bad about that. So I think maybe we need to actually start with like a pilot project and have a smaller group of people and kind of work this out first and see how it works, get feedback from them, see how many people actually want to participate, maybe like run just one course. And make sure that everybody does receive enough coaching and counseling, and then kind of reevaluate after that. That would be a good way to move forward.
Wow, Jan, so maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're feeling like this pilot project might be your solution. It's going to be a fixed number of women, I think you said. And does this solve the original question you had about what platform to use?
Well, now that I know that it wouldn't be just, you know, we wouldn't just make everything available to everybody and everybody out there, I think that maybe like a closed Facebook page might work, or just a WhatsApp group even. That would probably be the best thing, because I don't think it would work to put everything on YouTube, or just make them kind of open source. So yeah, I think I would like to talk about those two ideas, I think, with our team members.
Okay, excellent. So it sounds like a closed platform is what I hear. It sounds like a pilot project. And what do you think are your next steps with this? Does that sound like the path you want to take?
Yeah, I want to bring those ideas to the team and see what they think.
Okay, so bring the ideas to the team.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about it. Figure out how would we recruit that first group, or how would we'd have to do some kind of advertising and people sign up. So we'd figure that out. Yeah, so I think I can bring those ideas to the team and see what they think.
Excellent. So sounds like your steps are now to talk to the team, discuss this with them about the idea of the closed group and the pilot project. It also sounds like you want to decide about WhatsApp with them, or a Facebook group. And I assume then you're probably going to be needing to determine the participants and how to get this closed group going and by when.
Yes, we want to start the whole thing by the 16th, so we'll have to figure all that out.
Okay, so when do you want to meet with the team?
I will meet with them this Thursday. We have a team meeting every Thursday, so I think that's.
Okay.
I'll give me a little bit of time to do some more research.
Okay. So Janet, sounds like what you're going to do, you're going to do before Thursday, do some research.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to talk about this with your team at the meeting on Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and decide if this is the way you want to go forward with the pilot project in Facebook
Mm-hmm.
or Facebook. Yeah.
Mhm.
Excellent. That sounds so great. I hope this can really move forward like this, Jan. Yeah. What can I do to support this, or what question would you like me to ask you before the next time we get together?
Oh, thank you. That's so helpful. Yes, well, of course, ask me if I met with the team and then what happened. Maybe there'll be some new things that will pop up during that meeting that I'll have to figure out answers for. So I would love to talk to you after the meeting and then just debrief what happened and see if I need, what goals I need to set after that so I keep moving forward.
Okay.
It really helped a lot just to be able to freely talk and figure things out today.
Great.
Can't do that.
Thanks, Jan. It's good. So I will ask you how the meeting went after Thursday when we meet, and I think we've set it up for 2 weeks from now, right?
Did you go through some coaching training or something after?
You know, I was part of one, and it really helped me since the last time we talked. So I'm really glad. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Dave.
So let's debrief a little bit. What kind of questions did I ask? How did I help Jan this time, and what was the difference between this time and last time?
Well, you were much more attentive and very helpful, I'd say. You were trying to help the person rather than to express your own ideas.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, excellent.
You listened very attentively, you summarized, and then you asked extra questions to clarify the issue, and it was great.
Excellent. Questions that clarify the issue. Some people in the chat said I was asking open questions, insightful open questions, smooth conversation, it was flowing. Someone said that was coaching. Yeah? Anyone else?
I think last time she was kind of disappointed after a conversation, but now, you know, she felt much, I mean, after this time, she felt much better. I think she was so happy because you could really help her, and you didn't really offer her any ideas. Instead, you just kind of helped her to think over some, you know, ideas which she has, and it was just great.
Yeah. Good, thank you. So yes, it didn't seem like I gave advice, did I? I don't think I gave any advice. And that's what I try to do when I'm coaching and when I'm mentoring, unless it's asked for. And so some other people are saying summarizing is a helpful tool with the mentor coachee to gain clarity to move forward. I asked about concrete dates. No, I didn't give advice, someone said. And I'm glad she's happier because I have to live with her. So she better be happy after that. So excellent. So great. We are going to give you now some time. And after, we are going to give you, Natasha, I believe we're going to have a time now for 30 minutes, 15 minutes for each person. You're going to meet someone maybe for the first time. Maybe it's a little awkward, but if we don't stretch ourselves, if we don't go outside our comfort zone, we're never going to grow and develop. So this is a chance for free practice for your mentoring skills of using the technique of listening, asking a question, trying to move down the funnel if you can. We gave those materials to Maria and she sent them out where you have a copy of the funnel. If not, Natasha, did you put those in the chat as well?
Yes, I put it in the chat.
So they're in the chat in the PDF if you want to look at those as an example for you. But basically it's just having a conversation, free, no pressure. You're not giving advice, just talking about something that is a goal of the other person that they want to achieve or a challenge they want to overcome in 2021. Okay? If you have any questions, Natasha's going to put you in the groups. If you need help in your group, let us know. And one of us can come in there and help you as well. But we'll take 15 minutes for one person, and then Natasha will send a message and say it's time to switch, and then you'll switch roles and have a chance for the other person to share about a goal or something that's a challenging thing that they have facing them in 2021. Okay?
One thing, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're, so just to quickly summarize the funnel, if you're able to get through the whole thing, it'll be challenging, but at the beginning, you just want to try to clarify the goal, then just explore why it's important a little bit, ask why is this important to you, generate some options, then help the mentee coachee to make a decision, and then create some action steps, if you can get through that. If not, just have fun active listening.
Yes. Great. Good. Have a wonderful time. And after we come back, we will take a 10-minute break.
We somehow have lost a few people here.
Okay.
So I hope that whoever is going to be by himself or herself, that your peer will come back soon.
Okay. If not, Natasha, you could send Jan or I into the group.
Can I ask a question before we start?
Yes.
So these techniques seem to be amazing, but I have some doubts regarding depression and anxiety, which so many people have nowadays, especially with all the coronavirus thing. What would be your tips getting around these two mental issues and recognizing them in your partner so that you don't pressure, because many of these questions can trigger depression to go deeper?
Can I answer
question, Jan?
That's such a good question. That's such an excellent question. One thing that we did, because we don't have enough time to talk about all the aspects of coachings, but the very first one is attunement. And what that means is just really connecting relationally with the person that you're coaching. That means being sensitive. You want to spend some time at the beginning of the conversation just kind of assessing where's the person at, how comfortable is he or she. Ask some really good open questions. Just be very relational, be kind, be compassionate, be caring. And we want to do that through the whole conversation. And a lot of times, actually, people come to Dave and I and they want coaching about some kind of goal or something related to their business or their work or something. And we end up getting into personal issues because our personal issues and the things we struggle with internally are the things that really, most of the time, are the obstacles that stop us from achieving our goals. So even when we get into exploration, we ask things like, what's been difficult about this? Or is there anything, do you have anything going on inside of you that's been made it hard for you to move forward in this area of your life? And we listen really carefully for what we call red flags, krasny flashka. And then we go into those times, go into those things very gently, very carefully. But a lot of times we have opportunities to help people change beliefs. We try to identify what we call faulty beliefs, or maybe lies people are thinking about themselves, like, I will never be able to achieve this, or I will never be able to be free from anxiety, or I will never be able to be a good parent, or whatever it is, like I will never, or I can't change this, or something like that. And then we gently explore that, and it's really interesting that comes out. And when I'm listening, I take good notes. And when I repeat back, a lot of times people say, wow, did I say that? I didn't even know I was thinking that. Because a lot of times we have our beliefs are so buried inside of us, we don't even know they're there until somebody will listen to us, and then they come out. So we try to make a really safe atmosphere. We try to be as caring as we possibly can, and because we feel like it's a privilege to listen to people. It's a privilege if people open their hearts, their lives, their minds to us, and we want to, just value that so much. So that is a really important thing. Anytime you're having a conversation with people in which they do trust you enough to open up their hearts to you, just be really careful with whatever comes out and treat the person with honor, dignity, respect. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you.
I would like to add something. So those that, Natalia, those that you see are by themselves, maybe it's better to put them in a group of 3. Because I'm not sure if people are coming or not. No one wrote me anything. So like, to be safe so that the person is not alone, let's just maybe make bigger groups.
So right now,
put 2 individuals with each other.
in here. So I hope that no one drops out because of the slow internet or some work
Okay,
connection.
thanks.
If we notice it, then either Jan or I could go in and we could be the person that you get a chance to practice your mentoring and active listening skills with.
Okay.
Great.
So
Have a
everyone.
great time.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, where did Jan go?
So Jan went to one of the groups.
Okay, okay.
We had 40. The maximum we had. Just a second.
Since we started a little bit later, if you can't be part of it, Mari, I believe that's okay that we can do that and go on to our next. Do we need a 10-minute break, or would we rather finish earlier? Mari?
Finish earlier is my vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if anyone needs to take a coffee break or go to the bathroom, just let them be. And
Okay.
I guess the others just let's continue and just feel free.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're just going to take maybe 2 or 3 minutes just to hear back. Any feedback from your experience? What did you learn? What questions do you have? Just 2 or 3 minutes. And then we're going to go into another very important skill. And it's going to be a lot of fun because Jan's going to lead it, about encouragement. So 1 or 2 people, any feedback from what you just practiced?
Yeah, go. We just had a wonderful communication with Ekaterina, and we decided she's a current mentor for current cycle 10. That's why we decided to start with me and my questions, as I am a mentor and she's a mentee. Mm-hmm. And I started with the questions, like positive questions about how did the morning go, how's everything, etc., etc. And that actually led us into quite deep discussion. And then it was just by sort of discussion between 2 of us, and I don't know, we both were mentors and mentees in this discussion. Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah, really healthy mentoring, especially with a coaching approach, mentoring conversations are a benefit to both people. Absolutely. Yes. Someone else.
May I share?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Hello, my name is Valeria. I was in the group with Sergey, and I decided to take this opportunity and to discuss actually the problem I'm facing, the challenge I'm facing right now. And I kind of worked on it already, but during the conversation with Sergey, we came up to some extra ideas, to some new things that I could manage, and it was really helpful in such a short time. I already got 2 points of what I could do and what I could work on.
Wow.
So it was pretty helpful.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Good job, Sergey. Maybe one other person.
I would love to. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
I had the opportunity to be in a group with Jan, and was amazing. Yes, it was amazing. Like a discussion and training, and when I was like then Jen was coaching me, I really she made me think more deeply and why it's important for me, and really it brings me new insights. So it's really cool that, thank you. I also learned from Jen how to like make people and like coaching and making them think more. So thank you. Yes.
And she did that for me as well. She is a natural coach. She did such a great job. It was real coaching for me.
Wow.
So
excellent.
Fun to see.
Excellent. Well, you're such good sports. You're such courageous people for doing that. I felt, Jan and I both felt you were probably hungry for these kind of conversations to have, and so glad to hear that many of them went very, very well. So let's move to our next topic, and then they'll finish sooner. If you need to go and get up and take a 2-minute break, feel free to do it. But Jan, it's all yours.
Okay. I have to get my slides up here. So that was really fun, everybody. I just want to say, we enjoyed our last meeting with you all so much. I was telling Katerina that we were on such a high afterwards because you were such a fun, encouraging group of people. We couldn't go to sleep afterwards, even though it was the morning for us. So we're going to go on to talk about a very important part of coaching, mentoring, and that is encouragement. We're going to talk about the power of encouragement. Oh shoot! I thought it was at the beginning, but I wasn't. Sorry, everybody. To have to do this. Okay, so encouragement allows us. It's just a wonderful tool for bringing out the best in people, for bringing out their potential. And this is one of the best things that you can do as a mentor, because how many of you get enough encouragement in your life? Who has an overdose of encouragement? Anybody? Probably none of us do. We can never, there's never enough positivity in the world. There's never enough kind words in the world. And if you can focus a lot of energy and efforts on just encouraging your mentee or anybody in your life, you're going to be someone that people will love to be around, love to spend time with, that develops people, that sees the good in people, and it is just a wonderful habit to develop in your life. And there's actually a lot more. Probably a lot of you think that maybe you knew everything about asking questions and how to listen well, but we realize there's so much to learn, and it's the same with encouragement. Sometimes we think that being an encouraging person is just kind of saying some nice words to people, but there's actually a lot of tools that we can learn in order to be a deep and powerful encourager. So actually mentoring is a very key, or encouragement is a very key mentoring skill, which maybe some of you didn't realize. There's a psychologist, Dr. Linda Phillips Jones, and she's the author of very many publications about mentoring. She said that she's identified that encouragement is actually the key mentoring, the most valued mentoring skill by mentees. Isn't that interesting? And she recommends actually that mentors should err on the side of too much praise rather than too little. And she recommends that people encourage others 4 or 5 times for every time that you bring some kind of correction or advice or some kind of anything from your own opinion. Especially if it has anything kind of like of a corrective nature, that you want to make sure that you praise 4 or 5 times more than that. So some of you might be thinking like, oh, wow, that's a lot of praise. I'm not sure if I can do that. Some people don't even really have enough vocabulary to do that. But the wonderful thing is that encouragement is a skill. It's a skill that we can learn. We can actually train our brain we can rewire our brains so that we can actually be putting new glasses on and looking at the good in people, looking for what they're doing right. Kind of like what we were talking about in our last training, approaching life from looking at people's strengths rather than their weaknesses. So if we're looking for what people are doing well, how can we catch them doing something good and encourage them and affirm that for it? We're looking at people and even life with a different lens. Because truly, encouragement is really one of the most wonderful, thoughtful, and meaningful gifts that we can give to people around us, isn't it? It really is fuel that empowers people to reach their potential, to not give up, to try to be their best. And actually, encouragement and positivity affects our physical health as well. It actually, when we are encouraged or we encourage others, it actually creates dopamine in our brain, which brings us more motivation and joy. Who would like to have more motivation and joy? I think we can never have enough of that either. It actually boosts our immune system and the immune system of people that we encourage. And is that important these days? Everybody is searching for how to boost their immune systems these days. So we have a free, something that doesn't cost anything, a free way to do that. It's also contagious. When you encourage others, then they feel like going out and encouraging somebody else. And we can actually start like chains of positivity and encouragement and new relationship standards. And we can be just catalysts for energizing and creating positive communities around us and positive families and positive relationships, which is so needed these days. And positivity is really important because a positive mindset is actually really vital for health and well-being. Research shows that positive thoughts actually reduce stress and inflammation. Isn't that interesting? And it gives us more increased resilience to infection. But negative emotions can make us more susceptible to colds, the flu, and I think even COVID. So where do positive thoughts come from? We can try really hard to tell ourselves positive things, have positive self-talk, and that's good, that's really good. But a lot of times we're like looking for what other people say about us to verify what we're thinking about ourselves. Like if we're thinking something good about ourselves, we're trying to muster up positive feelings, but other people are not speaking those same kind of thoughts out about us. We start to question ourselves. But when other people speak out positive words about us, when they affirm us for something, if they notice something good that we're doing and they speak it out, then it immediately gives us a positive influx of emotions and helps us to think more positively about ourselves. Which in turn helps us to be more positive about others. So it's really important just to develop this culture, a personal culture and a community culture of being able to do this. So research on the relationship between encouragement and positivity show that people who live in an encouraging environment are more likely to have good relationships with others, and they're more likely to live longer than people who live in a critical atmosphere. But unfortunately, a lot of people in this life they do not have the opportunity to live in a positive atmosphere or study or work, because what comes more naturally for us as humans? Usually it's to be critical, isn't it? Unless you're born as a very naturally positive person, like my wonderful husband. Some of you probably have the strength of positivity, and you learned last week that actually it kind of comes naturally for you to be positive. But those people are rare, unfortunately. I think probably for most humans, our result is to kind of look at people with eyes that see what they're doing wrong, with kind of critical eyes. We like to notice people's faults and weaknesses and kind of call them out or try to change them. And this is the kind of culture or environment that we create, unfortunately. But people who live in a critical atmosphere are 8 times more likely to be depressed. That's sad. They're less likely to succeed in work and school. And it's difficult for them to have good relationships with others. And that's really so sad, just because of living in a critical atmosphere. Also, people that live in a positive atmosphere can make better, it's proven fact that they can make better decisions about their life and are able to work on their goals with more energy and focus, but negative emotions weaken our immune system. So there's all kinds of reasons why we can see that it's really important to establish a positive atmosphere and be a positive person. And so to create this positive culture and all the benefits that come with it, we need to train our brain and develop new habits. To encourage and affirm behavior, actions, and character that we admire in people. And the more that we see people doing things well and we affirm them for that, what happens? We reinforce that behavior. They're more encouraged to continue doing it. So that is a wonderful way to actually kind of train the people around you, like especially for those of you that are parents. Encourage builds our confidence. It makes us feel like our efforts are noticed and important and appreciated, and that we as people are valuable, that we're needed, that we're important. And I really don't think, sometimes we look at people and we think, oh, they really have their act together. They do everything well all the time. They feel almost perfect to us. They don't really need encouragement probably. But I think that nobody is so strong. Nobody is so perfect that they don't ever need encouragement. And some of the people that we think don't need encouragement actually really do because everybody thinks that they don't need encouragement. And some personality types, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Myers-Briggs, but some personality types actually need encouragement. If they don't receive encouragement, they wither up, they dry up, they just can hardly even function. We do a lot of marriage counseling, and we've seen this in a lot of marriage relationships where one spouse is not able to freely encourage and the other one needs encouragement, and they just are at such a stalemate because of that. So we also need to notice the people around us that need encouragement. They just to thrive, and make sure that we are giving them extra measure of encouragement, so they can thrive. So we're going to spend the rest of our time today talking about that's why we need to encourage. Now we're going to talk about how do we encourage, because encouragement isn't just saying, oh, maladets, or good job, or well done. Sometimes we think encouragement is kind of encouraging people to do what we want them to do. Like, oh, I encourage you to spend more time with your children, or I encourage you to be learning more about your job so that you can perform better, or I encourage you to do this or that. But that's not the kind of meaning of encouragement that we're talking about today. We want to talk about how do we affirm people for what they're doing well? How do we see who they really are? How do we see what's wonderful about their character or their heart or their values, and we highlight that and affirm it and help them to develop more through our encouragement. So encouragement can take on many, many forms, and we're going to talk about that. One is we can leave and write thoughtful or encouraging messages to people. My wonderful husband is so good at this. Before I'm going on a trip, or if we're going to be separated for a while, or if I just took something risky, and whether I did well or not, he always looks for the good things that I did, or what how I tried or something. He finds something to encourage me and writes it out and leaves a note in my suitcase, or sends me emails all the time that are so positive. And I just love that so much. It always just gives me such a just boost when he does that. I will say to you guys that after our training last time, somebody wrote on the chat, this training was a 10 out of 10. It was inspiring. And I was so encouraged by what you guys wrote in the chat. I really was like on a high for the rest of the day. When Dave and I kept talking about how much we love the training, we really enjoyed being with you guys, and your encouragement so much to us. You didn't have to write those comments, but you did. And it was just a huge, huge boost for us. I think we got just a positive, huge immune system boost from that. And maybe that's why we're not sick and can keep doing these trainings in the middle of the night. So we can praise people privately. Sometimes what a wonderful way to encourage somebody is to set up a meeting just for them, bring their favorite food, bring their favorite flowers or a gift or something, do something special for them, just to say that, hey, I'm thinking about you, I care about you, and I notice that this is what you're doing, and I want to thank you for it. Or we can commend people in front of others, which is also a wonderful way to encourage people. In front of your team, if you acknowledge what one of the team members did this week that was just going the extra mile above and beyond the call of duty, affirming it in front of other people is just an extra measure of encouragement that makes people feel wonderful. Sometimes we need to just see when someone's discouraged, just pay attention, use our active listening skills and hear how they're doing. And if we see that they're discouraged or maybe just don't feel like trying anymore, we can encourage them not to give up. We can tell them the reasons why they shouldn't give up, what they've been doing well, how much we appreciate their efforts, how much they've been trying and pouring their hearts into this thing, and don't give up. I'm involved in another project that is really challenging for me right now. It's like so challenging. And I have a wonderful mentor. And sometimes I don't feel like I've made enough progress, and I kind of don't want to check in with her. And I'm a little worried that she might give up on me or tell me I'm not taking the right kind of action steps or whatever. But every single time she encouraged me instead. And I went away feeling like, okay, I can do this. I can keep going on. I'm not a total failure. And I just saw like, if she would have been kind of harsh with me or negative or something, I might have given up. But just her encouragement is the thing sometimes that has kept me going and not taken me out of the game. Sometimes we need to encourage people's dreams. Like, it's scary to step out and dream big, isn't it? But if our mentor, our coach encourages our dreams and tells us we're not crazy, that is such an encouragement. What about failure? After a failure, how much do we need encouragement? One of my first mentees in Uzbekistan was just starting her public speaking career. And to be honest, she didn't do very well the first few times, because who does the first few times you step out and do something risky? And I remember one time in particular, she just put her head on my lap and she cried and cried and cried and said, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this. I'm a failure. I hate this. And I listened to her. I think I cried with her a little bit. And then we debriefed and figured out what she can do differently next time. And I encouraged her. I cared about her. I stuck with her. And now she's one of the best public speakers that I know in the whole country. She is amazing. But we stood together through that failure. And I think that was encouraging. But powerful encouragement has to be sincere. Like, we can't just throw a bunch of like rah words out there that might feel empty or hollow to the person. We can't say that people did a great job if they didn't really do a good job, because some people, if your words of encouragement don't match up to how they felt about the situation, it can actually be discouraging for them. They can feel like you're not being true or sincere, or and it won't mean anything to them. They might not trust you. So we have to balance being super encouraging and positive with also being truthful and honest. And I think if we really try, we can always find something that's sincere and honest to encourage people about. And people will appreciate our honesty and trust us more and believe us the next time we say something very positive. Our encouragement has to be based in very careful observation. So it's a lot of work to be actually a good encourager. We need to watch people carefully and think carefully and craft our words carefully, so that when we do encourage them, it comes across as being powerful. It just like cuts right to their heart, is the thing that they needed to hear in that moment. And there's so many things that we can encourage people about. We can notice their effort, their actions. We can praise them for their accomplishments. We can notice their good relationship skills. David, I love to encourage relationship skills. Wow, you just asked me such a good question, or you are really a good listener, or wow, I see that you love people so much. Or maybe it's people's values. Maybe they're wonderful at persevering, or they really care about people, or they're a hard worker, or they're disciplined. Maybe it's that they've worked really hard to develop knowledge and skills. Maybe they have an incredible level of intelligence because they've worked really hard at learning and just constantly growing in their level of intelligence. You can notice their strengths, their talents, their abilities, affirm them for that, their character, their potential, and lastly, their identity, who they really are. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So there's all kinds of things. If we're trying to be intentional and thoughtful and creative with our encouragement, the possibilities are just endless. Okay, so we're going to look at 3 specific tools or levels of encouragement right now that you can use to encourage the people around you. And we want to ask you guys specifically, as we go through these 3 ways to encourage, that you think about your mentees. And we would like you to be writing down, thinking about these 3 different tools and writing down how you can encourage your mentee and what exactly you can say to them. So we're going to give you a little bit of time after each one of these tools to think about that. And your mentee will have just a wonderful, super incredible week after hearing all these positive words from you. Okay, so the first level of encouragement is to take note of and celebrate what your mentee or somebody else in your life has done well or is doing well right now. So this really focuses on noticing people's efforts, their accomplishments, their actions. You can think about what people have done that should be celebrated, what progress have they made lately, maybe what do they regularly do that other people rarely notice or encourage. Maybe with your mentee, it could be that they are applying for scholarships and working hard at that, or maybe they did something that required a lot of inner strength, like they resolved a conflict, or they forgave somebody that they had a grudge against, or it can be almost anything. They took some big steps in moving forward in their career that were risky. Just as you're listening, just try to notice, try to catch where they've been making extra effort, or where have they tried hard and made some progress, and make sure that you affirm that. Because the more you affirm that, the more they're going to be motivated to continue trying. If they feel like they're trying really hard, but you don't notice, you don't catch it, and you don't affirm what they're doing, it'll kind of take some of the wind out of their sails. But you can do the opposite. You can put wind in their sails and help them to go farther by just noticing what they're doing. So how are we doing for for time? How much time do we have for to write down? What do you think, Dave? Are we gonna end a little bit late?
Can we take 2 minutes?
Okay, so take 2 minutes right now. If you guys, we sent out a handout. I don't know if anybody printed that out or has that, but that has the questions, these questions in that handout. You can use that, or you can just take a piece of paper right now and think about what you've noticed that your mentee has done well, or has accomplished, or has tried to do, and how can you affirm them for that? Okay, so 2 minutes. And if you don't have a mentee right now, it can be anybody in your life. It's anybody that you'd like to encourage. Okay, I hope that was enough time. I'm sure it wasn't enough time, but at least it got you started thinking. And you can finish thinking and writing down later, and then make sure that you write down when you're going to tell your mentee or the other person in your life what you appreciate about what they've been doing, what they've accomplished, how they've been trying. The next level of encouragement is deeper than this. It's naming identity. It's positively articulating who your mentee or this other person in your life is in the core of their being. This type of encouragement is so powerful, because when we affirm people's actions and what we see they're doing is one thing, but when we actually encourage who they are, what they're made of, their character, their heart, their values, the deeper things about them, who they are when nobody's looking. This is the type of encouragement that really can change how people see themselves. It can help them identify unhealthy things that they had been believing about themselves and believe really the truth about themselves. So I'll just share a little bit about my own experience with this. Again, it has to do with my wonderful husband. I am very self-unaware, and I'm really hard on myself. I'm very self-critical. If I'm not perfect, which is 99.99999% of the time, I tend to beat myself up and just think too much about what I did wrong or what I should have done better. And in those moments, Dave always finds something to encourage me about. It's like he's always, since the first day we met, he's seen my potential. He's seen the good in me. He sees me with different glasses that I see myself. And I feel literally like he's just pulling my potential out. He sees my potential way more than I do. And I have grown so much in my life just because of his affirmation and his encouragement and his choosing to see the best and affirm the good things in me that I just did not see myself. And we've tried to do this with our kids. We tried to do this with the people around us. And so many people have said to us that, wow, just because you've seen me in a different way than other people do, it has just helped me so much to grow. So this is really, really powerful. We can help people get unstuck in believing wrong things about themselves just by doing this. So to use this level of encouragement, think about people's talents, their strengths, their character qualities. What do you see in them, such as like perseverance, integrity, honesty, trustworthiness, faithfulness, love even? What do you see about their character that you love, just who they really are? What inner greatness do you see? What incredible potential do you see in them because of who they are? Who are they meant to be? What's the hidden treasure inside people that maybe others don't see, but you see because you're choosing to see them with these glasses? So think about again about your mentee or somebody else in your life, and you want to, when you encourage them, you want to use "you are" statements. You are this kind of a person: strong, brave, caring, unselfish, tenderhearted. Or because you have these talents and strengths, you are this kind of a person. I'm proud of you for these reasons. And this quality about you really sets you apart from others. So this kind of encouragement should be deep. It should be really heartfelt. It should be really well thought through. And I guarantee that it will be life-changing. So think about what you can say to your mentee or to someone else significant in your life, and we'll give you another 2 minutes, and then we'll go on to the last one. We have only just, I think, 2 more slides, and then we'll be done. Okay, so 2 minutes.
I just want to say that we also sent out a document called something like 99 character traits. And that's something for you to look at, because sometimes we don't know what's this person like. I have 99 positive character traits. We could look at the list with anyone in your life, even the person that you absolutely do not like, but you could find 1 or 2 of these positive character traits that you can say, this person is like this. They're not like me, but they have some positive character traits. So that's a great tool to use with your mentee to find the words to say about what they're like, or whoever it is, your children or your spouse, or even the person you're having a conflict with.
That's good. Okay. And again, you'll need to take some more time because that's a one that takes some deep thinking, but at least they'll get you thinking about it a little bit. Okay, so the last level of encouragement is expressing belief and confidence in your mentee's future, or whoever else that you are trying to encourage. So this also is so powerful, because when you do this, you're declaring that you have faith in this person. You're confident about their future, that they can be all that they're meant to be. They have potential for greatness. They can make an important and lasting impact on the world. You're saying that you believe in them, and you're stating the reasons why you believe in them. And believing in people is really a powerful motivator. Have you ever noticed that when successful people who are like getting some kind of award or something, usually they mention the people that believed in them along the way. Having somebody believe in you is a really important form of encouragement, because all of us at one time or another have been discouraged, we've been insecure, we've been unsure about what we might be able to accomplish. And it's so wonderful in that moment when somebody comes along just at the right time and says, yes, I believe that you can do this. I'm confident in you because I see this and this and this in you. And I know that that is going to propel you forward, and you can do it. I'm standing with you. When somebody says those kinds of words to us, we feel strengthened and like we can try again, or we can try harder. I try really hard to see the people that I mentor and that I lead with eyes of what they can become, not where they are right now, but who they can be. When I was sharing with Dave about this project that we have going on in Bishkek, all of the women that are volunteers in this project were, none of them have any background in counseling or psychology. They just have really good hearts and they wanted to do something for women. And they were so afraid to step out and offer this coaching to people, but because they care about people, they wanted to try. And I just kept encouraging them and saying, you can do this. I believe in you. Don't doubt yourself. And I think this believing in each other just inspired us to try, to just step out and try. And now this project has become so successful and they've helped really hundreds of women all across the country. And I think it was the power of us believing in each other and me seeing their potential, because I really did believe that they could do it. So again, if you have somebody in your life like this, it can make all the difference in whether you become successful or not. Whether if you feel alone and like nobody believes in you, you're not going to try. But if you believe that people actually care and see the good in you, it's going to give you a lot more motivation to try. So think about your mentee or someone else's future. What are the skills, the habits, the abilities that you see in them that will lead to their future success? And that's a really good concrete thing to think about. How do you connect what you see in them now, what you just talked about, with their future? What future do you see for this person that they might not yet have the confidence to see? And how can you most effectively communicate your belief for them? And how can you affirm their calling and their destiny? That's also so positive. Everybody has a calling and destiny. Everybody's on this earth to accomplish something great, something very important. Everybody has a contribution to make. If everybody makes their contribution and do what only they can do, the world is going to be a better place. Dave and I feel so strongly about that. And we got to help each other find that. We got to stand together to see that become a reality, especially these days. So this is a very powerful thing that you can do for others. So think again about right now about your mentee. How can you speak into his or her future calling, his destiny, his legacy? What can you say and when will you say it? Is it okay to still take 2 minutes? We're about 9 minutes over here. Okay, 2 minutes, and then we will close. Okay, so the last thing that I want to say to encourage you guys is don't put this off. One thing that makes me really sad is that so often we wait until it's too late to start encouraging people and saying the things that we wish we would have said. I'm always so sad when I go to a funeral and everybody's saying such nice things about the person that died, and I think, why didn't we all say this when this person was alive? This person, it would be so nice for this person to be able to hear all these incredible words and what we noticed and what we appreciated, what we valued. So don't wait until it's too late. Make continually encouraging the people around you a habit. Train your brain. Just do your best to be this person that is spreading positivity, spurring people on, helping them to develop their potential, believing in them, caring about them, and seeing all these things that they're doing well. And through this, you can change your own life and you can change the lives of everybody around you. So you can do it, and you can make a big impact on the world through being an encouraging person. So thank you, everybody. You encouraged us by coming today, by wanting to learn, by wanting to grow, wanting to develop yourself. And we so value that. We so value you. We value everything that you've worked so hard for in your lives. And even the questions today that you asked at the beginning were really an encouragement to me. So thank you for being the people that you are. I wish we could all get to know you personally and spend time with you face to face, but this has been wonderful today.
Let me say just one word. 14 years ago, I wrote a letter to a young guy, and I wrote in there these different categories that we just talked about today, about the things that I felt like they did well, the character traits, and also the belief I had about his future. 13 years later, just a year ago, his wife said, you know, I don't know if you remember, but you gave him this letter back then. He still has it. It's printed out. It still encourages him to this day. Thank you for doing that. His wife, he wasn't married when I gave him the letter. He got married later, but he has that, and it still encourages him. I just want to say, what you do as someone that your mentee respects and trusts, or whoever it is, if it's your child, if it's your wife, if it's your husband, if it's a friend, or it's a parent maybe, they will value this like gold. And it can make the difference between them moving forward with confidence or being stuck in a place where maybe they're not feeling confident and not having success in their life. So please be those people that I know that you are. Thank you for investing in people through mentoring, and for letting us have a chance to be with you today, and for letting us go a little bit longer. So Maria, thank you for this time. We'd love to debrief with you, but we hope this was helpful for you, but it was very encouraging for us as well.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much, Jen, and all of the participants. Thank you very much for joining. And I am going to send you the feedback link by email. Please take 1 minute to fill in the form. Your feedback is extremely important to us. Please do it. I'm going to send it in 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anastasia, move forward with your coaching. You're going to do a great job.
Same to you, Katarina.
Yeah. Ruslan, take care. Bye. Dimitri.